Eagles second-year running back Miles Sanders suffered a lower body injury. Here for the impact on his fantasy football value and the Eagles' backfield is Sports Illustrated's fantasy football analyst Michael Fabiano and the editor of Eagles Maven, Ed Kracz. Fabs, let's go to you first. Sanders, he was going in the late first, early second round. How does this change your opinion on the second-year playmaker?
Not just yet. I mean, be more vague too, Eagles. Come on, lower body injury? Like, what is it? Is it a knee? Is it an ankle? Is it a quad? What is it? Anyways, the initial reports that we're hearing, Bill, is that he should be fine for week 1, and maybe the Eagles are just being a little more precautious because of the situation that we're in with the pandemic and preseason games. And Deuce Staley, one of the coaches there in Philadelphia, had said earlier in the week that they're going to give Miles Sanders the football in a featured role. And that is an exciting proposition from a fantasy perspective. This is a guy who last year, while Jordan Howard was hurt, averaged over 20 touches per game, averaged over 20 fantasy points per game for about a 4 or 5 week stretch. He was absolutely tremendous. And he didn't get as much hype coming out of college because he played behind this dude, Saquon Barkley, who you may have heard of. But I had an interview yesterday on my SiriusXM show with LeVar Arrington, and LeVar absolutely gushed about Miles Sanders and the potential that he has to be a featured back in the National Football League. Maybe a little bit of Penn State bias there, but it's all good. As far as Sanders goes, he's still a first-round pick, second-round pick at worst, but you certainly have to keep tabs on the status of this lower body injury that he has suffered. And then maybe you move Boston Scott up a couple of notches at the running back position. I think Scott could end up being a decent draft bargain in 2020.
Ed, with this injury to Miles Sanders, what's going on in the Eagles' backfield now?
Yeah, well, I think the Eagles are just being cautious with Miles Sanders. In fact, I know that they are. Sanders has been out of practice. He's been playing catch. He wears a long sleeve over his left leg, which he's been listed as week to week with this lower body injury. But I don't think it's anything to be serious about. They're just being cautious, and it's the same with Boston Scott, his running mate in the backfield. He's also listed as week to week. But they're just being cautious. They want to make sure these two guys are ready to hit the ground running on September 13th. It's sort of an approach they're taking with two other defensive linemen as well, Javon Hargrave and Derek Barnett. I fully expect that Sanders and company will be ready when the Eagles go down to Washington to play the football team.
All right, plenty more fantasy football news, advice, and strategy, including our custom cheat sheets, which are geared to your scoring system, more important now than ever. Get over to si.com/fantasy.